Hello, in this video I'd like to show you how to install your very own Debian distribution using the Debootstrap system. I'm starting with the X Ubuntu in a virtual machine. This particular machine will have all the dependencies we need to do to make the installation. So the method is going to let us create a 64-bit and potentially i386. What I'm going to do basically is going to follow the instructions from a site in GitHub, DenOS, and basically what we have here is a set of instructions of how to install in shell scripts step by step, very easy, much easier than Linux from scratch. It's a walk in the park. There's one main file that actually is a get started. So if you look at the documentation, basically just download one file and from there start getting all the other files that you need. So the get started file is actually the main script. Is going to take care of everything on downloading, everything that we need to download in order to get started. So let me just go ahead and copy this file from the repository, and in a regular user desktop, I want to create my DenOS folder. I'm going to download the file, and basically we're just going to have, let's do execution permissions. And there is, if I do want to take a look to it, the only thing it does is just wget to a bunch of files. That's what I need. So I'll go ahead and execute it. It's going to download from GitHub everything. And what I have is a sequence from numeric sequence for what I want to do. The first time is the DNOS prereqs. If I take a look to that file, the only thing it does is app install, Debootstrap, squash, SPS, or ISO. So I want to do the installation. Actually, do the sudo the command, and what it's going to do is going to execute the app command to update and download all the dependencies. I did this previously to test the script, so actually everything worked fine. So no dependencies need to be added, otherwise it's going to install with the app command. Now we can actually edit the DenOS config. Let's take a look to the config file. This light boot is a folder where actually is going to be installed. Let's go ahead and install it in and go text DenOS text. Under this is going to be DenOS. That's fine. Version 1.0. Nothing fancy. And then we execute the second command. The second command basically, if we take a look, what it does is actually reads the configuration file, makes in the home directory that file that we just created, in this case the one we set up on as DenOS. Do the bootstrap, we select the architecture 64-bit on the stretch release and go ahead and get all the information directly from the Debian website. So nothing really fancy right there. Using the bootstrap, start doing the downloading the release, getting the release, the GPG signatures, retrieving the packages, and it's actually going to get everything that is needed in order to get this installation successful. So it's just going to be a matter of time, the speed of your bandwidth, your computer, your memory, your CPU, to start getting all the information from the Debian website. Downloading all the packages is much faster than doing a Linux from scratch. Trust me, it's much faster. It's incredibly easy. So basically, the bootstrap does the magic to get everything that is actually required to get it started. It's downloading all the packages, put it in the right place, building our own root file system, which is what we expected. And this command is going to take us to the chroot environment, where we have the option to select one or two options. We can do the text install. I want to do the text install first. Later I want to continue to the LXDE distro install. At this point, it's going to get all the dependencies, Perl, libraries, packages. So the base system is installed. As you can see, it changes to the chroot environment. So now we have two options. We have one shell script for text mode, another one for LXDE. The only difference, and we have a copy of the DenOS config. You remember, that's going to be the DenOS text, which is listed on the home DenOS text. The name is DenOS. And the other thing I wanted to point out, the only difference between these two files is actually the LXD command. If I do the only difference is actually that LXD part. So just for the scope of this test, I want to just do the text mode only. I want to execute the command. It's going to actually go there and get all the packages. While this is doing that, I can swim back real quick. Take a look at the text file. The text file on the 03. The only thing it's doing is downloading, reading the configuration file, putting the echo distro etc hostname, a search for the images, do the upload date, installing the Linux image, the live boot, and everything. And apt command is doing everything, all the magic. So this is actually very busy, just getting directly from the Debian website, the stretch distribution on the 64-bit, downloading and doing everything. Again, it's a waiting game, just kind of depending on your bandwidth, your speed, your processor, and it's going to actually go ahead and get the job done. But eventually we'll succeed. So just basically be patient. This process might take a little while depending on your location and your bandwidth and the closest FTP Debian mirror that is actually getting. Within this chroot environment, the next thing is going to ask me about the language on the installation, and it's also going to ask me to set up a root password. So as this goes, it's doing the installation of all the packages that I ask in the settings. Once it's getting everything ready, here it goes. It's asking me for the layout English, which is fine, and now it's going to ask me for the root password. Just like Slack, so I guess I can do something very simple, something like a Tor, which is root backwards. So that'll be fine. At this point, I'm done with the chroot environment. I can do exit from the chroot environment, and we just run execute the tree. We'll go to number 4, which let's take a look on what it does. The make squash. So basically, probably is going to be able to see it better here. Just basically is making a live boot, a scratch image, make squash on the live boot, the squash file system, creating the group configuration to boot, and just kind of set up some variables. So this is the part where actually it's taking all the compression in the make squash file system, compressing in one main image. This is the part where it's actually taking all the files that we installed and just putting it together in some blocks. At this point, you can see it's actually taking some time. This probably be the most time-consuming process within the rebuilding of your Linux distribution. Notice it's only going to take us about under 10 minutes. I did this on Linux from scratch. It took about 3 days. It's extremely painful, but it's a good learning experience. After that, it's asking us to run the DenOS UEFI, BIOS UEFI to boot. If we take a look to the file, uh, what it does is actually rinse the configuration file, root makes standalone, does the locales, does the dd command, group command. I choose the option to go for the BIOS and UEFI, so you should be able to put everything pretty much. And that's it. It's just going through. You can tell that actually it's only 269 megs at this point. And it's located at home DenOS, the DenOS text. I want to do the DenOS LXD later. What I want to do is want to test it now. So I wanted to get the file. It comes 269 megs coming this way. This is done. I'll go ahead and create another virtual machine. I want to create DenOS text. DenOS text. I'm going to call it Linux. Is a 64-bit. 10 to 1 gig is fine. We can create this. Sure, we can create it to install it later. I only need 1 gig. It's only 200 megs, so it's very lean. And when I double click on it, so it asks me to put a booting image. There it is. So you can see it's booting. To fix the little star on the little name of the distribution, we basically start it. Or nice, extremely fast, extremely quick. We don't have htop, we didn't put, but we can install it without command, and then we have htop. Very fast, very lean. Script fetch is there because we added within the packages that we installed. If we take a look to the packages that were installed on the chroot environment, LX terminal is there. So as a screen fetch. If I do LX terminal, well, I don't have LX, I don't have an X, but I can actually start X. Nothing prevents me to notice start X super fast. And there's htop running an X. So that was the installation of minimal system, 260 megs, Debian install your own custom package, only everything with Debootstrap. Oops, typo. All right, let's go ahead and spice it up a little bit more. Let's go back to our virtual machine. Let's create a directory called my DenOS 2. It's empty. So let's go ahead and take a look at the get started file. We'll need it again. Here it was. Permissions to execute. Downloading all the files. Nice. Now let's take a look to the, of course, the packages. The dependencies can be executed, but I don't need them, so just kind of go there and execute and run. It's not going to install anything because everything's already there, so no need on that. Let's take a look to the DenOS config, and here, just to see, earlier we called it DenOS text. I want to call it DenOS LXDE this time. Put another folder, DenOS LXDE. Nice, okay. So let's execute script number 2, retrieve the packages, create the signature, start putting all the information that is needed. If I happen to open another terminal, you can see there's a DenOS LXD because it's the folder we tell them to. Root environment. And if we're watching ls on the root environment, this is gonna the bootstrap is gonna start pulling a bunch of things. Eventually, it's gonna reveal all my root environment, getting ready to actually use it. This time, it's just actually executing and getting everything on RAM. Eventually, in this folder, it's gonna populate all my file system. It's gonna get it ready for me to use. There you go. Up here, everything's ready. This is almost about to be launching and getting me there. This part of the process is very painful, like I was saying, from scratch. It takes long time, about 2-3 days. This is a much better way to have a small condensed method. Here we are with the root environment. Now what we want to execute, the LXDE, which if we take a look, is everything else the same, just adding LXDE extra. That's the only thing is different. So let me execute that one in the root environment with LXDE. It's going to do similar things like earlier. It's going to go ahead and download from the FTP Debian website the stretch distribution for everything that it was indicated to install within that package. It's going to take a little longer, just a little longer, because if you recall, here it was only installing Network Manager, NetTools, Wireless Tools, CURL, OpenSSH Server Client, BlackBox X Server, or Xterm X Screen Terminal, LX Terminal, and Nano. In this case, we're adding the same thing, which is the same file, plus LXD. That's the difference right here. So it might take a little longer just for that part. It's going to get some dependencies, but it's going to give us a nice LXD GUI. Potentially, there's another option to create some more files for XFCE, for i3, including even KDE, Plasma, GNOME, Mate, several other window managers for Linux. But basically, just for demonstration purposes, I think this would be a good start. Potentially, I want to release the same file for the i386, so it can be built from scratch very quickly in about 10 minutes. So this is just kind of Again, the waiting time, just getting, downloading packages, unpacking packages, putting in the right place, do the letting the app command do the magic of downloading, unpacking, checking for dependencies, make sure everything's in place, testing, verifying, and setting up the things in the right place. And the beauty about this is like it's not getting a bunch of extra data. Here we go. So do the same thing, English keyboard. I'm going to continue doing this all the libraries. Eventually, it's going to ask me for the root password as well. And once we get the root password, we should be done with the chroot environment. So Python triggers, here you go. Same thing. And we're done. Chroot environment is done actually. Which was step number 3. Now we'll go for 4, which if you remember is the make squash. This is probably one of the most important parts of the build. It actually is taking all the image on the live file system, making the squash. I remember distribution like Nopix. They were very, very impressive on how they use the make squash file system to put everything together into a live CD. It was very impressive still to the time. I think it's one of the best abstractions on the live CDs, but this is just kind of a very, very nice way to get the bootstrap going, and we're 70% already. It's going really, really fast. And here we go, we're done. Let's just execute the last part, which is the UEFI file to boot. So let's go ahead and do the BIOS UEFI. It created, this one is slightly bigger, as you can see, it's 317 megs. So what I can do is actually copy, but it's not in text. As you can see, it's the DenOS LXDE. Copy to the machine. We download 317 megs worth of ISO. And once it's done, I'll go ahead and create another virtual machine. It's called the DenOS LXDE. It's going to be a Linux on 64-bit. It's Debian, actually, it could be Debian, really, say Debian 64. And 1 gig is fine. And 1 gig is fine as well. And we create it. So that's just to put the location of the ISO. In this case, in the 274 against 324, just slightly bigger, not really too big. Can do start. Once we have it, I had to fix this little thing as a start instead of the name of the distribution. It's a little environment variable rating here. So let's go ahead and log in as root. Put in our Tor password, and voila, we got LXD going on. And Linux terminal, of course, is there. LXD, window manager open box, desktop environment LXD. Each stop is not, it was not put to install, but install. And there is. Very, very resourceful, very, very quick. Of course, has nothing, but nothing prevents you from actually install or set all the initial script to install and put whatever you wanted without taking the risk of having extra large amount of dependencies. What I like to see in this distribution is eventually be some kind of wallpaper, be some kind of maybe some clunky going on, a couple of things that are a wallpaper changer, some things that doesn't take a whole lot, but actually make things useful and enjoyable, with assurance that this is not actually going to overcloud the system. But Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to show. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a great day and enjoy Debian Bootstrap in your own distro in 10 minutes. Thank you.